Buckle up, excellence junkies, because this podcast is definitely for you. Welcome to Rocket Fuel. Do you wish that you could surround yourself with people that love to kick ass just like you? Well, come to my party, baby, and meet some of the brightest stars in the entrepreneurial galaxy, because it is my mission to give these entrepreneurs a platform to declare what they are on this planet to accomplish and to show you why they are rocket fuel. Hola, hola, my dear Rocketeers. How are you doing? I hope that you're doing well. I am here celebrating the 50th episode of the Rocket Fuel podcast, which is pretty cool. And I should be on a high. But I'm telling you, I'm on a low. So if you want to check it out on our YouTube channel, I'm a little busted. I'm a little busted up. Here we are, all excited to get into 2022. And I just rolled in past the finish line. Oh, scraped my body up. And I'm just, yeah. So basically, so many of us are coming into the new year and getting slammed by sickness, whether it's COVID or mystery COVID, right? All the symptoms, yet no positive test, or the flu, cold, whatever the heck, right? It just seems like people are just out left and right. And it hit me too. It's been weeks that I've just been really run down. And honestly, before I felt like the sickness, um, quote unquote, for those of you just listening, I was just really exhausted. So I've been experiencing like some major insomnia um for months now. And oh, it's so interesting. This is the 50th episode. I'm 50 years old, but I turned 50 July 1st. But it's interesting with that change in my life. I definitely think some hormonal things are going on, and it's causing me some major insomnia. So I'm working on that. But what's really interesting is observing the importance of sleep, because as I've been having more and more difficulty in sleeping, I realized that my health was at risk, right? It wasn't that I was just tired, like I felt susceptible. I felt susceptible to other things. And a couple weeks before Christmas, I literally like woke up one morning having slept maybe 2, 3 hours. And I went to my husband. I was like, I'm gonna die. I feel like I'm gonna die of insomnia. And and it was really upsetting me. And so I actually chose to pause on a lot of things, because I felt like I just kept on pushing through it and it wasn't enough, right? So today what I wanted to talk about was that permission to pause. I'm giving you guys permission to pause when you're receiving those signals from your body, from your environment, um your brain, right, which is part of your body. But when you're receiving those signals to slow down, listen. And what happens is, honestly, you guys are rocketeers, right? You love working on rocket fuel. You're in constant like forward momentum. So I get it, and this is why I'm giving you permission to pause, because we don't easily give ourselves permission to pause, right? We feel like we're slackers, like uh we somehow view the rest of the world like, well, they keep on going. Like everybody's dealing with the same stuff. Like they're just pushing through. And I guess I have to push through. Um, or we're just so goal oriented that we're looking at that end result, but we're kind of ignoring what's going on now. And, I'm putting myself in that we. So, so it's tough because back then I had commitments, right? I had several commitments that I had made over the holidays and such. And, um, when I realized that that moment that I woke up and I said, "Babe, I feel like I'm dying. Like I'm going to kill myself by not sleeping well." And it was like this epiphany, and I had to stop. I had to stop things that like really broke my heart. I wanted, to spend time with like family. I had all these plans to do things with the kids over the break and all of this stuff, and I'm like, I got to take it easy or else I'm not going to make it through. Like, I literally felt that way, and I shouldn't have gotten to that point. I shouldn't have gotten to that point, but I just kept on saying yes and yes and yes to things. I was super excited about things that we have planned, um, for 2022. I was excited to reconnect with family after, having been so long where we couldn't get together, right? And to be able to, like, celebrate normally, and the reality of people getting sick and putting other people at risk as a result of that, all of that stuff, and recognizing that I wasn't in good health. Like, I knew that if I got sick, like, it wasn't going to be good. And so I started to kind of back away from things, and it's tough because some people in my life gave me permission to pause and others didn't, right? They were in their own momentum, and whatever they said or whatever didn't provide that comfort level and that permission to pause. And you're going to have that in your life, right? You're going to have situations that may be more flexible or understanding, and other situations that are not so much. Um, and if you're anything like I am, I hate to disappoint. I hate to disappoint. I'm usually a deliverer and an over deliverer, right? Otherwise, I'm not going to promise to you because I will always do my best and more. Um, is that possible? I don't know, but you know what I mean, right? And 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 so when you experience that feeling of disappointment, then it's like, "Oh, crap. You see, this is why I didn't wanna pause. I didn't wanna disappoint my team. I didn't wanna disappoint my husband. I didn't wanna disappoint my kids. I didn't wanna disappoint my family members, my parents, my blah, 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 whatever, myself." And so all of those reasons become reasons to not give you that permission slip. So here, fast forward, even when I gave myself that permission to pause, and it was really, really hard because things around me were not giving me permission, right? Like even my husband getting sick and just burning out at around the same time I was. I'm like, "Oh, crap, we can't both burn out," right? So that's situational. It's not necessarily like somebody saying, "No, don't take the time out." It's just literally like, "Oh, crap," or the kids. My daughter was vomiting and my son was like sick with the runny nose and he couldn't sleep night after night, right? So now I'm like, "Oh boy, my insomnia and staying up with a baby." And then my husband and I both trying to take turns when we were both just ragged, right? So sometimes it's not necessarily people, it's scenarios that don't give you that permission to pause. But at a certain point, you have to kind of hold on to you, because none of this is going to happen if you're not there. Like, if you wind up croaking or in the hospital because you ran yourself ragged so hard trying to not disappoint, trying to reach all of those goals, then guess what? You're not going to reach those goals. And boy, are you going to disappoint when you're not there with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends, with your team members, with your company. right? So so I did that, but it was a little too late. I gave myself the permission to pause a little too late, and I was ragged already. And bam, I got whatever people are getting, right? I don't know. I still don't know if it's COVID. I've been negative 4 tests now, a home test, a rapid test, 2 PCR tests. But I know that I've never felt this way before. This is like a cold, a flu, plus hypoglycemia, plus like dizziness, tachycardia, arrhythmia, like all of this stuff all at the same time. And it's really, really hard because I gave myself the permission to pause before the holiday break so that I could be like guns a-blazing, right, in January. And here I am because I delayed giving myself permission to pause. I delayed appropriate self-care. I'm midway into January and I'm like crawling. I'm crawling. And it's hard because we had some amazing goals to hit in January. We have, and we just have to figure out a different way to do it. Now, what the blessing of it is literally once I said to my team, "Hey guys, I need to release the things that I'm holding us back on." So whether it's like reviewing things or writing messages or whatever it is, like I trust you guys to just keep moving forward without me. And it for some reason it took me being like like in bed to do that when I probably could have done it earlier in the month and said, "Hey guys, I want to slow down a little bit, so I'm going to let you guys take the reign." Better than like totally slowing things down completely like to molasses speed because I wanted to hold on to like final approval of things or whatever, right? At least something would have been happening if I let go of the reins earlier. So I'm sharing this because I mean this is a a pandemic for those who desire to be rocket fuel, to live on rocket fuel, to bust out of mediocrity, to always move forward, to always be better, right? And I highly, highly encourage that, right? This is like this is my life. This is what I love to encourage people to do, to bust out of the meh, right? But then you could go on overdrive. Then you could go on overdrive. And I encourage you to surround yourself with people that allow you and give you that permission slip, that permission to pause, that can recognize that your pausing doesn't mean that you're a slacker. Like all the terrible things that you'll say in your head, like, well, look at that. Guess you couldn't hack it. Guess you don't really have the stamina for it. Blah 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 blah, right? Surround yourself with people that like they get what you are, what you're about, what you want to achieve, and they also get that you can't run yourself ragged. And they also get that it's difficult to give yourself permission to pause. So, my dear Rocketeers, I am officially writing you a permission slip. Love, Wanda Toro Torini. Here's your permission to pause because Rocketeers do that. Because Rocketeers want to perform at a high level. And in order to perform at a high level, you need to take care of the engine that is you. You depend on if you're a Rocketeer, it's probably not only you depend on it, but other people in your life depend on it because usually Rocketeers are leaders, leaders within their families, they're leaders within their organizations, their own company, they're entrepreneurs, right? So there's a lot more riding on that permission slip than just you. And so I am happily writing it for you. I am happy that I have team members that gave me that permission as well. Um, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna guide them to kind of flag me earlier. because I'm sure they saw it. I'm sure they saw it. But what happens is, like, when you're the leader, like, kind of, people don't want to tell the emperor that he has, like, no clothes on, right? Right? So they're like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't want to tell Wanda, but I think she's kind of, I mean, she's been sick like 3 times in the past 2 months. She's canceled out on meetings, and they're all symptoms that we can't see ourselves." So with that, I'm celebrating this 50th episode of the Rocket Fuel podcast. I am so grateful that you have been listening. I ask you to share with others, please, share the Rocket Fuel podcast, those people in your life that are leaders, want to bust out of mediocrity, like, need that motivation, love the idea of learning about other experts that can just, like, take them to the next level. And I as part of this process and my love to you, I'm ending this with that permission slip so that when your body is telling you to take a break, just know that Dr. Wanda said, yeah, Rocketeers take breaks. So with that, I never, ever want you to miss an episode of the Rocket Fuel podcast because, man, we have some amazing, amazing people that I get to interview, and I have tons of amazing people that are in the lineup coming up, okay? So we created an episode guide, like a TV guide, an episode binge guide, so that you can look up an episode. We've categorized them based on whether they're business or health related or self-help. It's like super, super cool. And I would like for you to text for it right now. So text Rocket Fuel. That's ROCKITFUEL, all one word, Rocket Fuel, to 411321, and you'll receive this month's episode binge guide, the Rocket Fuel episode binge guide, and every month we will send you an update, right? So it's really cool. You'll see the episodes that you've missed. There'll be featured guests that are highlighted. You'll be able to get access to what their catchwords are, right? What the value bombs are that they're dropping and they're providing to the audience, so that you could text for those immediately, even without listening to the episode, right? So text Rocket Fuel to 411321, ROCKITFUEL to 411321. And if you're outside of the US, you can either text or use WhatsApp now. But message us at 1-909-741-1321. All right, that's catchwords, 1-909-741-1321. And then the message is Rocket Fuel, ROCKITFUEL, all one word. Provide us your email address if we don't have it already, and bam, you're going to get this month's episode binge guide, and you will get one every single month. And I guarantee it will be totally worth it. You will look forward to seeing the amazing people that I've interviewed. All right, guys, I love you, Rocketeers, and I hope that you have a rockin' day. Bye now. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, every one of our episodes is boosted by a value-packed keyword called a catchword. Yeah. This allows our audiences to text to receive even more value from our guests. So take advantage of that great value. And if you share your expertise by guesting on podcasts or TV or speaking in front of live or digital audiences, then you're leaving anonymous fans behind. So go get a catchword at catchwords.com, KETCH words.com, and use podcast20 as a promo code for 20% off your setup fee. Look, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Rocket Fuel podcast so you never miss your jolt of rocket fuel. Until next time, adios.